Una Amici, together, friends, is my submission for the Dungeon Tubers Dungeon Jam 2025. It's a 5-room dungeon with 15 rooms, but it can be run as a single game session at over 3 or 4 hours of playtime. It's TTRPG system agnostic and can be dropped into basically any setting because it takes place in a dream, in a magical sequence. The adventure is best suited to groups who enjoy role-playing and developing their characters. The dungeon will force the group to work together whether they like it or not. It's best suited to relatively early in a campaign, where the players are still learning about their characters and understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses. It can also be used as a campaign opening, where the adventurers are thrown together by forces unknown, learning about each other to survive and setting them up for more open adventures in the future. The tone of the adventure is shaped heavily by the group's preferences and the desire to explore personal or potentially difficult topics. So what actually happens? The party navigate 5 rooms in an interplanar space, which challenge their ability to understand each other and to work together. They fight mundane foes, their own past, mirrored and exaggerated versions of themselves, and a conglomeration of all of their worst instincts, before finally reaching their goal. That might be potential enlightenment, prophecies, glimpses of the future, a way back into the world that they know, or just a better understanding of their friends. The question of, well, what is this place, is something that's best left up to you, the GM, to answer, as it will differ for every setting and adventure and party. I've deliberately kept things vague in the map and in the PDF, hopefully to give you space to put your own stamp on it. Here are some examples though to get you started. Maybe it's a place between worlds and outside of time, where heroes are made. Perhaps it's constructed eons ago by the maker of all things, where the threads of fate are pulled upon. Perhaps it is a test of your loyalty, your selflessness, and of your ability to become more than the sum of your parts. Or it is judgment. An overview of the adventure. This can be played as a totally linear experience, or you as GM, you're welcome to reorder the rooms as you see fit. The standard layout, as shown on the map, goes like this. First we start in the thick of it, in combat, against an enemy who the party should be familiar with in some way. Then the party need to face their own personal demons. The party are drawn into individual rooms where scenes from their past are displayed for one and all to see, for better or for worse. Next they come up against their darker selves, mirror versions of the party. An interesting thing about this one is that the player characters, they can't attack the mirror versions of themselves. Instead, they have to find each other's weaknesses and attack those. Then it's the big boss fight, the sum of all fears. This is a conglomeration, a homunculus, a merging of all of the worst instincts for each of the party members. If the party survive, they make it into the last room, Truth in the Infinite, where they can see out into space, into the weave of magic, and potentially be granted prophecies or visions of the future. 2 versions of the map plus VTT overlays, the full PDF, markdown of the PDF, and a short 1-page version are all available in the link in the description down there somewhere. I like to think that I've got many skills, but map making is not one of them. A massive thank you to Scott Doherty of Venger's Decks for producing this incredible piece. For those of you who've not seen a video of mine before, welcome, hi, my name's Rich, this is Renegade Rolls, and on this channel I love talking about the narrative and roleplay sides of D&D and TTRPGs, and how we can get better as GMs at improving our skills as storytellers, but also welcoming others to the hobby and to our tables, and helping everyone just have a really good time while rolling brightly coloured dice. A question that's incredibly important when making any pre-made adventure is, how are the party even going to get to it? Luckily there are many ways of getting a party into a magical demiplane or quantum realm of some sort. I hope some of these are useful for you. The party were all killed, and instead of reaching an afterlife, they find themselves in this strange new place with maybe a second chance. Or a great archmage is dying and has hidden the last of her power in a relic in this demiplane. Only those willing to do what she could not, trust others, can gain access to its power and continue her legacy. You don't have to worry at all. Photography is a new technology. It's interesting and exciting, they said. All that scaremongering and talk about souls being captured is just crazy talk. They put their camera up and flash. A hag heard the party bickering and put them in the get-along dungeon until they learned to behave. A massively powerful interdimensional being has taken an interest in the party, and they enjoy setting perverse challenges. Ideally, this one would be played by John Delancey. When I was coming up with my idea for my contribution to this dungeon jam, I realised I don't often use published dungeons as designed in my adventures. This is not for lack of quality of any of the work out there. It's actually because I find pre-made dungeons to be overly detailed. The stories in my campaigns are all about the player characters, so trying to shoehorn them into a pre-made dungeon becomes very difficult for me. With that in mind, I wanted to come up with a dungeon which I could imagine running for almost any party. Something with the maximum utility that could be brought into almost any campaign. What's the most system setting agnostic place? A dream, a magic-infused demiplane, a quantum place made of neurons if you're feeling particularly sci-fi about it. Something I've seen that's a problem at a lot of tables is that players are excited about the main story and their character's development, but are less interested in the stories of the other player characters. Be the player's biggest fan. It's advice that gets given to the GMs a lot, but it applies to the players too. When everyone is a fan of the other characters, we can tell incredible stories. I hope you and the folks around your table have a ton of fun playing this one. Thanks again to the organisers of the Dungeon Tubers Dungeon Jam, Mystic Arts, Nagobi, Lunatic Dice and Paladin Pros. To check out the full playlist of a ton of videos, check this one out here. Whichever dungeon you choose to run, I hope you have an incredible time together with friends. Una Amici.